the betrayal, the perfect life that never was. Elena Ashwood stood before the mirror in her bedroom, adjusting the emerald necklace that hung around her neck. It was her 5th wedding anniversary, and the Silver Moon Pack was throwing a grand celebration in her honor. She was their Luna, beloved by all, married to the powerful alpha Marcus Ashwood. From the outside, her life looked perfect. The dress she wore was a deep forest green, Marcus's favorite color. She had spent hours preparing for this night, wanting everything to be perfect. The pack house was decorated with silver ribbons and white roses. Over 200 wolves from neighboring territories had come to celebrate with them. "You look beautiful, Luna," her handmaid Sarah said, smiling warmly. Elena smiled back, but something felt wrong. She couldn't explain it. For weeks now, she had felt a strange emptiness in her bond with Marcus. He had been distant, cold even. He blamed it on pack business, on the stress of leading. She had believed him because she loved him. "Have you seen Alpha Marcus?" Elena asked, glancing at the clock. The celebration would start in 30 minutes. Sarah's face changed for just a moment, a flicker of something Elena couldn't read. I believe he's in his private study, Luna." Elena nodded. Marcus had a study on the 3rd floor of the pack house, a place he went when he needed to think. She decided to surprise him, to steal a quiet moment before the chaos of the party began. The moment everything shattered. The 3rd floor was quiet, too quiet. Elena's heels clicked softly on the marble floor as she approached Marcus's study. The door was slightly open, and she could hear voices inside. She recognized Marcus's deep voice immediately, but there was another voice too. A woman's voice, one she knew all too well. "We can't keep doing this, Marcus. She's going to find out eventually." Elena froze. That was Vivian, her younger sister. "She won't find out," Marcus replied, his voice rough. "Elena is too trusting, too naive. She believes everything I tell her." Elena's hand went to her chest. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. This couldn't be happening. Not Marcus, not Vivian. But what about tonight? The anniversary party. Vivian's voice was worried. "What about it?" Marcus laughed, a sound that cut through Elena like a knife. "I'll play the loving husband for a few hours, smile for the cameras, and then I'll come back to you, where I want to be." Elena pushed the door open. The sight before her would be burned into her memory forever. Marcus and Vivian were on the leather couch in his study. Vivian was wearing only Marcus's shirt. Marcus was shirtless. The room smelled of them, of their betrayal. "Elena!" Vivian gasped, scrambling to cover herself. But Elena wasn't looking at her sister. She was looking at Marcus, the man she had loved for 7 years. The man she had given everything to. His face showed no guilt, no remorse, only annoyance that he had been caught. "How long?" Elena's voice came out as a whisper. Marcus stood slowly, not bothering to cover himself. 2 years. 2 years. The words hit Elena like a physical blow. 2 years of lies. 2 years of him coming to her bed while thinking of her sister. 2 years of betrayal. "Why?" Elena asked, tears streaming down her face. "Because she gives me what you can't," Marcus said coldly. "Vivian is pregnant, Elena. She's carrying my heir. Something you failed to do in 5 years of marriage. The public humiliation." Elena didn't remember walking down the stairs. She didn't remember how she ended up in the grand ballroom where guests were already arriving. She only remembered the feeling of her world ending, of everything she knew turning to dust. Vivian had followed her, now dressed in a beautiful red gown. She had the audacity to look sad, to look apologetic. But Elena could see the truth in her sister's eyes. Vivian had wanted this. She had always been jealous of Elena, always wanted what Elena had. Marcus arrived moments later, straightening his tie as if nothing had happened. He walked to the front of the ballroom and called for everyone's attention. "Thank you all for coming tonight," Marcus began, his voice strong and commanding. "I've gathered you here under false pretenses. This is not an anniversary celebration." The crowd murmured in confusion. Elena stood frozen, unable to move. I am here to make an official announcement, Marcus continued. I am rejecting Elena Ashwood as my mate and Luna of the Silver Moon Pack. Gasps filled the room. Elena felt her knees weaken. The rejection would come through the mate bond, a pain worse than death. But she wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing her fall. Elena has failed in her primary duty as Luna, Marcus declared, his voice echoing through the silent ballroom. She has been unable to produce an heir. Our pack doctors have confirmed what I have long suspected. She is barren. Her wolf is weak, possibly cursed. Lies. All lies. Elena wanted to scream, but her voice was trapped in her throat. Furthermore, Marcus continued, I have found my true mate. Vivian Ashwood, Elena's own sister, is carrying my child. The moon goddess has shown me my true path. The pack members began to whisper. Some looked at Elena with pity, others with disgust, some even with anger, as if she had somehow failed them all. Elder Thomas, the head of the pack council, stepped forward. Alpha Marcus, this is highly unusual. The Luna has served the pack faithfully for 5 years. There must be a formal hearing. There will be no hearing, Marcus interrupted. I am Alpha. My word is law.
I reject Elena Ashwood.
I sever our mate bond. I strip her of the title of Luna. The pain hit Elena like lightning. The mate bond, which had been weak for weeks, now shattered completely. It felt like someone was tearing her soul in half. She gasped, falling to her knees. The physical pain was unbearable, but the emotional pain was worse. Through her tears, Elena looked up at her sister. Vivian stood beside Marcus, her hand on her barely visible belly, a small smile on her face. This had been planned. This public humiliation had been calculated. You have until dawn to leave Pack Lands, Marcus said, looking down at Elena without emotion. Take nothing but what you can carry. You are no longer welcome in the Silver Moon Pack. The long walk to nowhere. Elena didn't go back to her room. She couldn't bear to see the bed she had shared with Marcus, the life she had built. She walked out of the pack house in her anniversary dress, the emerald necklace still around her neck. No one stopped her. No one came to her defense. The pack members who had smiled at her just hours before now looked away. She was rejected, cast out. In the wolf world, she was now lower than an omega. She was nothing. The walk to the pack border took 2 hours. Elena's feet were bleeding by the time she reached the edge of Silver Moon territory. She had worn delicate heels meant for dancing, not for walking through the forest. As she crossed the border, she felt the final connection to the pack snap. It was like losing a family because that's what a pack was. She was now a lone wolf, one of the most dangerous things to be in their world. The neutral territory between pack lands was called the Deadlands. It was where rogues lived, wolves who had been exiled or who had lost their packs. It was dangerous, especially for a lone female. Elena walked through the darkness, not caring where she went. Part of her hoped a rogue would find her and end her suffering. She had lost everything. Her mate, her pack, her sister, her dignity. She didn't know how long she walked. Hours maybe. Her feet were numb. Her body was exhausted from the pain of the broken mate bond. She barely noticed when the 3 wolves stepped out of the shadows ahead of her. Well, one of them said, shifting to human form. He was tall and scarred, with mean eyes. What do we have here? A lone she-wolf in the Deadlands. And wearing jewelry too. The other 2 wolves circled her, still in their wolf forms. They were rogues, and from the look in their eyes, they weren't just interested in her necklace. Please, Elena whispered. Just let me pass. Let you pass. The leader laughed. I don't think so. You're going to give us everything you have, starting with that pretty necklace. Elena's wolf stirred inside her for the first time in hours. Even broken and betrayed, her wolf wanted to survive. But Elena was too weak. The mate bond rejection had drained her strength. The leader reached for her, and Elena tried to fight. She really did. But she was no match for 3 rogues. They grabbed her, tore the necklace from her throat, ripped her dress. Elena screamed, but there was no one to hear her in the Deadlands. Then suddenly the weight of the rogues was gone. Elena fell to the ground, gasping. Through her blurred vision, she saw a figure moving faster than should be possible. A hooded stranger was fighting the three rogues with bare hands. It was over in seconds. The rogues lay unconscious on the ground. The hooded figure turned to Elena, but she couldn't see their face in the darkness. "You shouldn't be out here alone," a voice said. It was deep, male, but somehow gentle. Elena tried to speak, but darkness was closing in around her vision. The last thing she remembered was strong arms catching her as she fell, and a voice saying, "I've got you. You're safe now." Awakening in a hidden place. When Elena opened her eyes, she wasn't in the Deadlands anymore. She was lying on a soft bed in a small wooden cabin. Sunlight streamed through a window, and the smell of herbs filled the air. "Ah, you're awake," a kind voice said. Elena turned her head to see an elderly woman sitting in a rocking chair near the bed. She had long silver hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. There was power in this woman, ancient and strong. "Where am I?" Elena asked, her throat dry. "You're in my sanctuary, child," the woman said, standing and bringing Elena a cup of water. "I am old Mother Kira. You were brought to me last night by a friend. You were in very bad shape." Elena drank the water gratefully. "The hooded person who saved me? He wishes to remain anonymous," Mother Kira said with a knowing smile. "But he made sure you were safe before he left. Now tell me your story, child. I can see great pain in your eyes." Elena didn't know why, but something about this old woman made her feel safe. For the first time since discovering the betrayal, Elena let herself cry. She told Mother Kira everything. Marcus, Vivian, the rejection, the lies about being barren. Mother Kira listened without interrupting. When Elena finished, the old woman nodded slowly. "Your former mate is a fool. And a liar." "What do you mean?" Elena asked. "You are not barren, child," Mother Kira said gently. "In fact, you are 3 months pregnant." Elena's heart stopped. That's impossible. I would know. I would feel." "Your wolf has been suppressed," Mother Kira interrupted. "Someone has been poisoning you slowly, for years. It weakened your wolf and hid the signs of pregnancy. But now that you're away from the source, I can sense the life growing within you clearly." Elena's hand went to her stomach. A baby. She was carrying Marcus's child. The child he had said she could never give him. "There's more," Mother Kira said, her eyes gleaming with an ancient knowledge. "You are not just any wolf, Elena Ashwood. You carry the bloodline of the Moon Guardians, the most powerful wolves that ever lived. Your family suppressed this knowledge, kept you weak so you couldn't access your true power. But now, with the mate bond broken and away from the poison, your real strength will begin to emerge." Elena looked at the old woman in shock. "I don't understand." "You will," Mother Kira said with a smile. "You have been betrayed, cast aside, and left for dead. But sometimes, child, we must lose everything to discover who we truly are. Your story is not ending. It is just beginning." For the first time since that horrible night, Elena felt something other than pain. She felt a spark of something new, something powerful. Rage. Not the hot, destructive rage that clouds judgment, but the cold, calculating rage that demands justice. Marcus and Vivian had taken everything from her. They had lied, betrayed, and humiliated her. But they had made one critical mistake. They had let her live. Elena Ashwood, the weak, naive Luna they had discarded, was about to disappear. In her place, something new would rise, something they should fear. "Teach me," Elena said to Mother Kira, her voice steady and strong for the first time. "Teach me everything. I want to know about my bloodline. I want to access my power. I want to become strong enough that no one can ever hurt me again." Mother Kira's smile widened. "Now that, child, is the spirit of a true moon guardian. Your training begins tomorrow. But I must warn you, the path ahead will be painful. You will have to face parts of yourself you've kept hidden. You will have to become someone new. Good, Elena said, her hand still on her stomach where her child grew. The old Elena is dead. It's time for something new to be born. As the sun set on her first day in the sanctuary, Elena made a silent promise to herself and to the life growing inside her. She would survive. She would grow strong. And one day, she would return to make those who betrayed her face the consequences of their actions. The betrayal had broken her. But from those broken pieces, something far more powerful would emerge. They had wanted her weak and silent. They were about to discover their terrible mistake. The transformation, the first lesson in power. Elena woke before dawn to find Mother Kira already awake, standing in the center of the cabin with her eyes closed. The old woman seemed to be glowing with a soft silver light that pulsed in rhythm with her breathing. "You're awake," Mother Kira said without opening her eyes. "Good. Your training begins now." Elena sat up carefully, still feeling the ache from the broken mate bond. "What are you doing?" "I'm connecting to the moon's energy," Mother Kira explained, finally opening her eyes. "This is the foundation of moon guardian power. We don't just shift into wolves like regular werewolves. We are connected to something older, something more primal. The moon itself." Over the next hour, Mother Kira explained what Elena truly was. The Moon Guardians were an ancient bloodline that existed before the modern wolf packs. They were the first wolves, blessed directly by the moon goddess herself. They had powers that regular werewolves couldn't imagine. Enhanced strength, healing abilities, the power to sense truth from lies, and most importantly, complete control over their wolf form. "But if I'm from this bloodline, why have I always been so weak?" Elena asked, confused. Mother Kira's expression darkened. "Because your family made a choice generations ago. They feared the power of the Moon Guardians. They thought it made them targets. So they began suppressing the bloodline through special herbs mixed into food and drink. Over generations, the knowledge was forgotten, but the practice continued. Your mother likely gave you these herbs your entire life without knowing what they truly were." Elena felt anger rising in her chest. "So I was poisoned by my own family?" "Not with malicious intent," Mother Kira clarified. "But yes, your true power was locked away. And when you married Marcus, someone in his family knew what you were. They continued the suppression, probably increasing the dose. That's why you couldn't get pregnant for so long. The herbs were making your body too weak to carry a child." "But I'm pregnant now," Elena said, her hand moving to her still flat stomach. "Yes, because you're away from the poison," Mother Kira smiled. "And your child will be born with the full Moon Guardian bloodline active. No se presten. No weakness. This baby will be extraordinarily powerful." Elena felt a fierce protective instinct surge through her. Her child would not grow up weak and controlled like she had. Her child would know their true strength from the beginning. "Teach me everything," Elena said firmly. "I want to access every bit of power that was stolen from me." Mother Kira's smile widened. "The awakening process will be painful. Your wolf has been caged for so long that releasing her will feel like breaking every bone in your body. Are you sure you're ready?" Elena thought of Marcus's cold eyes, Vivian's triumphant smile, the pack members who had turned away from her. "I'm ready." Breaking the chains. The next 3 months were the hardest of Elena's life. Every day, Mother Kira pushed her to her limits and beyond. She taught Elena to meditate under the full moon, drawing its power directly into her body. She taught her to communicate with her wolf not as a separate entity, but as a true partner. The first time Elena felt her wolf fully awaken was terrifying and exhilarating. It happened during a meditation session. Elena was sitting cross-legged in the forest clearing behind Mother Kira's cabin, eyes closed, focusing on the moon's energy. Suddenly, she felt something shift inside her. It was like a door that had been locked her entire life suddenly burst open. Power flooded through her body. Silver, cold, and absolutely overwhelming. Elena gasped, her eyes flying open. They were no longer their normal brown color. They were glowing pure silver. "Don't fight it." Mother Kira's voice came from somewhere nearby, Let your wolf emerge. Elena's body began to change, but this wasn't the usual painful shift that werewolves experienced. This was something else entirely. Her bones didn't break and reform. Instead, they flowed like liquid silver, reshaping themselves smoothly. Her skin didn't tear to make way for fur. The fur simply emerged as if it had always been there, just beneath the surface. When the shift was complete, Elena looked down at her paws and gasped. She wasn't the small, gray wolf she had always been. She was massive, nearly the size of an alpha male. Her fur was pure white with silver markings that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. She felt strong, powerful, and completely in control. Beautiful, Mother Kira breathed. This is your true form. This is what you were always meant to be. Elena's wolf threw back her head and howled. It wasn't a sound of pain or loneliness. It was a sound of freedom, of power finally unleashed. In that moment, Elena understood what she truly was. She wasn't just a rejected Luna. She was a moon guardian, one of the most powerful beings in the werewolf world. The growing sanctuary. As the months passed and Elena's power grew, something unexpected happened. Other wolves began to arrive at Mother Kira's sanctuary. They were all outcasts, rejected mates, omega wolves who had been abused, lone wolves who had lost their packs. They came because word had spread through the underground network of displaced wolves. There was a place where the rejected could find safety, a place where a powerful white wolf offered protection. Elena didn't turn any of them away. She remembered too well what it felt like to be cast out, to have nowhere to go. She welcomed each new arrival, gave them shelter, and helped them find their strength. There was Marcus, a beta wolf who had been cast out for refusing to follow an unjust order. There was Sarah, a young she-wolf whose mate had rejected her for being too weak. There was old Thomas, who had spoken up for Elena that horrible night and had been exiled for his defense of her. He cried when he saw Elena alive and well. "Luna," he said, dropping to one knee. "I tried to stop him. I swear I tried." "I know," Elena said gently, helping him stand. "And you paid the price for your loyalty. But I'm not a Luna anymore, Thomas. Here we're all equal. We're all pack." By her 6th month of pregnancy, Elena had gathered nearly 30 wolves. They called themselves the Eclipse Shadows, and though Elena insisted she wasn't their alpha, they all looked to her for guidance. Mother Kira watched the growing pack with satisfaction. "You're a natural leader, child. It's in your blood." The Moon Guardians were always meant to protect and unite wolves. Elena's pregnancy was progressing well, though Mother Kira had discovered something shocking. Elena wasn't carrying one child. She was carrying twins. And from what the old healer could sense, both babies were incredibly strong. "Twins are rare among werewolves," Mother Kira explained. "And twin alphas are almost unheard of. But that's what you're carrying, Elena. 2 alpha males with the full Moon Guardian bloodline." Elena felt overwhelmed but also fiercely proud. Her sons would be strong. They would never be suppressed or controlled like she had been. The mysterious visitor. It was a cold winter evening when the stranger arrived. Elena was in the main hall of what had once been Mother Kira's simple cabin, but had now expanded into a proper pack house with the help of her new pack members. She was teaching a group of younger wolves basic defense techniques when she felt it, a powerful presence approaching. Her wolf immediately went on alert. This wasn't a rogue or a lost wolf. This was an alpha and a strong one. "Everyone inside," Elena commanded, her voice carrying the natural authority of a Moon Guardian. Now, her pack didn't question her. They trusted her instincts. Within seconds, the clearing was empty except for Elena and Mother Kira, who had emerged from her healing room. A massive black wolf stepped out of the forest. He was easily the largest wolf Elena had ever seen, even bigger than her own impressive Moon Guardian form. His eyes were a striking ice blue, and power radiated from him like heat from a fire. The wolf shifted, and Elena had to force herself not to stare. The man who stood before her was tall, powerfully built, with black hair and those same piercing blue eyes. He was handsome in a dangerous, predatory way. He wore dark leather clothing and moved with the confidence of someone who had never known defeat. Old Mother Kira, the man said, his voice deep and smooth. It's been a long time. Dante Blackthorn, Mother Kira replied with genuine warmth. I wondered when you would come. Dante Blackthorn. Elena knew that name. Everyone in the werewolf world knew that name. He was the alpha of the Night Storm Pack, the most powerful pack in the Northern Territories. He was feared and respected in equal measure. Some called him the Dark Alpha. Others called him the King of the North. And he was standing in her clearing. Dante's eyes moved from Mother Kira to Elena, and she saw them widen slightly in surprise. And who is this? This is Elena, Mother Kira said. She's the one I told you about. You're the rejected Luna, Dante said, his eyes scanning Elena from head to toe. There was no judgment in his gaze, only curiosity and something else Elena couldn't identify. The one who's been gathering outcasts. I'm Elena, she said firmly, meeting his gaze without flinching. I'm not a Luna. Not anymore. Dante's lips curved into a slight smile. No, you're not. You're something far more interesting. He took a step closer. I can sense your power. You're a moon guardian. I thought they were all gone. Almost all, Mother Kira confirmed. Elena is the last of her line, though she only recently awakened her true nature. Dante's eyes dropped to Elena's pregnant belly, now quite prominent. And you're carrying twins. Strong ones, from what I can sense. Elena instinctively placed a protective hand on her stomach. What do you want, Alpha Blackthorn? Information, Dante said simply, and to offer help if you'll accept it. I don't need help, Elena replied coolly. Don't you? Dante challenged. You're a powerful moon guardian, yes, but you're also a pregnant female with a growing pack of outcasts and no official territory. What happens when your former mate learns you're alive? When the other packs learn there's a moon guardian walking among them again. You'll be a target, Elena. For everyone. Elena hated that he was right. She had been so focused on getting stronger, on building a safe place for her pack, that she hadn't thought about the bigger picture. What are you proposing? She asked carefully. An alliance, Dante said. The Night Storm Pack is the strongest in the north. Under my protection, no one would dare touch you or your pack. In return, you would share your knowledge of Moon Guardian abilities. I've spent years researching the old bloodlines. Having an actual Moon Guardian as an ally would be invaluable. You want to use me, Elena said flatly. I want to protect you, Dante corrected. There's a difference. I have no interest in controlling you, Elena. I'm offering genuine partnership. Elena studied him carefully. Her Moon Guardian abilities allowed her to sense truth from lies, and she couldn't detect any deception in Dante's words. He meant what he said, but she had trusted before. She had believed in Marcus's love, in her sister's loyalty. She wouldn't make that mistake again. Thank you for your offer, Alpha Blackthorn, Elena said formally. But I have to decline. I've learned that the only person I can truly trust is myself. I'll protect my own pack. Dante looked at her for a long moment, and Elena saw respect in his eyes. I understand. The offer remains open. Should you change your mind? He turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, your former mate is a fool. Any man who would discard a woman like you deserves everything that's coming to him. Before Elena could respond, Dante shifted and disappeared into the forest as quickly as he had arrived. You should have accepted his offer, Mother Kira said gently. I can't rely on anyone else, Elena replied. Not anymore. Independence is admirable, Mother Kira said. But even the strongest wolf needs a pack. Remember that, child. The birth of power. 2 months later, on a night when the full moon hung heavy in the sky, Elena went into labor. The process was intense but surprisingly quick. With Mother Kira's guidance and the support of her pack surrounding her, Elena gave birth to 2 healthy baby boys. The moment they were born, the entire sanctuary seemed to pulse with power. Every wolf present felt it. A surge of energy so strong it made the moon shine brighter. They're magnificent, Mother Kira breathed, carefully wrapping the twins in soft blankets. Elena held her sons, exhausted but filled with overwhelming love. They were perfect. One had dark hair like his father but Elena's brown eyes. The other had lighter hair and eyes that were already showing hints of silver. "What will you name them?" Sarah asked softly. Elena looked down at her sons. They were Marcus's children by blood, but Marcus had rejected them before they were even born. These boys were hers alone. "Alexander," she said, touching the dark-haired twin. "And Orion," she said, touching his brother. "Strong names," Mother Kira approved. "Names worthy of moon guardians." As if in response to hearing their names, both babies opened their eyes and looked directly at their mother.
Elena gasped.
Even as newborns, their eyes held an intelligence and awareness that was startling. "They're already connected to the moon," Mother Kira explained. "Born under a full moon to a moon guardian mother. These boys will be the most powerful wolves of their generation." Elena felt a fierce protective love surge through her. These were her sons, her legacy, and she would make sure they grew up knowing their worth, knowing their power. They would never be suppressed or controlled like she had been. "I promise you," Elena whispered to her sleeping sons, "I promise you'll grow up strong and free. And one day, when you're old enough, I'll tell you about your father. I'll tell you what he did. And then, if you wish it, we'll go back together. We'll show him exactly what he threw away, the first strike." While Elena was building her new life, her old life was falling apart. Back in the Silver Moon Pack, things were not going well for Marcus and Vivian. Vivian had lied about being pregnant. She had been pregnant, but she had lost the baby in the 3rd month. She had hidden the miscarriage from Marcus, hoping to get pregnant again quickly. But months had passed, and there was no new pregnancy. Marcus was growing suspicious and angry. Without an heir, his position as alpha was weakening. Several council members were questioning his judgment, especially after he had rejected Elena so publicly. Then, anonymous letters began arriving. They were delivered to rival alphas, to council members, to influential wolves throughout the territory. The letters contained detailed information about Marcus's illegal business dealings, secret alliances with rogue packs, embezzlement of pack funds, bribes to council members. Someone was systematically destroying Marcus's reputation, and he had no idea who was behind it. "It's her," Vivian insisted one night, pacing their bedroom. "It has to be Elena. She's alive. She's doing this." "Elena is dead," Marcus snapped, though he didn't sound certain. "She was cast out months ago. She wouldn't have survived the Deadlands." "We never found a body," Vivian pointed out. "What if she did survive? What if she's been planning revenge this whole time?" Marcus wanted to dismiss the idea, but he couldn't shake a growing feeling of unease. Something was coming. He could feel it in his bones. He had no idea how right he was. In her sanctuary, surrounded by her pack and her newborn sons, Elena was just beginning to plan her revenge. She had lost everything, but she had gained something far more valuable: true power, loyal friends, and a purpose. Marcus and Vivian had betrayed her, humiliated her, and cast her aside. They thought she was weak, broken, finished. They were about to learn the truth. The game had only just begun. And this time, Elena was the one making the rules. The revenge and redemption. The Queen returns. 1 year after her exile, Elena stood at the border of Silver Moon territory. She was no longer the broken, crying woman who had stumbled into the Deadlands. She was transformed, powerful, confident, and absolutely breathtaking. Her white hair with silver streaks flowed down her back. Her eyes, once dull brown, now held a permanent silver shimmer. She wore black leather armor crafted by her pack, fitted perfectly to her body. She looked like what she was, a warrior queen. Behind her stood 50 members of the Eclipse Shadows, all loyal to her. They had insisted on coming, but Elena had made them promise to hold back unless she called for them. This confrontation was personal. "Are you sure about this, Elena?" Sarah asked nervously. She had become Elena's closest friend and advisor over the past year. "I'm sure," Elena replied calmly. "It's time Marcus learned the truth. It's time they all learned the truth. At her sanctuary, safe and protected by Mother Kira and a dozen guards, her twin sons slept peacefully. Alexander and Orion were growing stronger every day, showing signs of their incredible moon guardian heritage. They were her reason for everything, her motivation to grow strong, to seek justice, to build a better world. Elena took a deep breath and stepped across the border. Immediately, she felt the pack link try to identify her. But she wasn't part of this pack anymore. The link found nothing, which would alert the patrol wolves that an unknown wolf had entered their territory. Good. She wanted them to know she was coming. Within minutes, a patrol of 6 wolves surrounded her. They shifted to human form, and Elena recognized all of them. They had once greeted her with respect. Now they looked at her with suspicion and confusion. "State your name and business," the lead patrol wolf demanded. Then his eyes widened. "Wait."
Luna Elena.
"Not Luna," Elena corrected coldly. "Just Elena. I'm here to see Alpha Marcus. Tell him an old friend has returned." The patrol wolves looked at each other uncertainly. Elena was supposed to be dead. Yet here she stood, clearly alive and radiating more power than any of them had ever felt from her before. I'll need to escort you to the pack house," the lead wolf stammered. "Of course," Elena said with a cold smile. "Lead the way."